What's up guys, my name is Timbo and welcome back to Destiny Database. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, after like 4 episodes this series finally has a name. Thank you to everyone in the comments that gave their ideas, but not only was this one the most upvoted, it was also the one that I liked the best. It keeps the series Destiny related, it's got that nice alliteration, and it's not specific to enemy races, allowing us to talk about other areas of Destiny. Which is certainly a good thing because after looking at the poll I put out last week, it was pretty obvious many of you out there want to see something a little different. Those of you that have been itching to see the Cabal and the Taken, those videos will certainly come. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick sidestep into other topics. As always, shortly after this video goes live, I'm going to leave another poll where you can vote for the topic of the next episode. If you're subscribed, which you should be, it should show up in your subscriptions feed. If you're not or have trouble finding it, just check the community tab on my channel. Thank you again to everyone who has been supporting this series. When I made the first video on the Hive, I didn't really expect this to become a regular thing, but you guys just gobble these videos up. So as long as you want more, I'll of course keep making them. Destiny is kind of in a lull at the moment as we wait for Shadowkeep, and I think this is a great way to refresh and hold this over. But with that being said and done, let's move forward to the topic of today's video, that being the Guardians themselves. In Destiny, everyone plays as a Guardian, whether you're an Exo, Awoken, or Human. I'm assuming everyone knows that, but if you play Destiny and were unaware of that, Lord bless your soul. As always, these videos are meant to be short, basic overviews, so let's start out by going over what Guardians are and where they came from in that nice Timbo SparkNote fashion I know you all love. The Guardians are a faction of protectors tasked with defending the last city and solar system against the forces of the Darkness, the Taken, the Red Legion, the Scorn, and various other threats. Or as I like to call them, the silent, super powerful protagonists that do all the things. One thing to note is that Guardians are kind of like zombies, as all Guardians were once dead and reanimated to life. And if you're like me, die and is resurrected hundreds of more times after that. Like I'm talking once every 5 minutes. Guardians are chosen from the ranks of ancient dead by the ghosts of the Traveler. Ghosts were created by the Traveler shortly after the collapse for this very purpose, to locate, resurrect, and support an individual capable of wielding the light. Now what makes one of these ancient dead worthy to be resurrected? Basically, just by looking at their past lives and compatibility with their ghost. The kind of scary thing is that upon being resurrected by a ghost, the Guardian will have no memories of their past life, and the pursuit of any information about their past life is forbidden. So basically you die, and you wake up like you were just born again, only this time you're a fully developed adult. That's awkward. Guardians are tasked with the protection of humanity's survivors. However, not all go by the rules, as many have splintered off into other groups with their own agendas. For example, it is commonplace for Guardians to align with one of the city's several factions for support, those being New Monarchy, Dead Orbit, and the only one that matters, Future War Cult. Probably just triggered a lot of people out there, but I said it. Going even further, some leave the city altogether, such as those who aligned with the Cult of Osiris. And even further than that, there are a few Guardians that have turned their back on the light and humanity altogether, such as the villainous Dredgen Yor, the original wielder of Thorn. Now you know why that gun is so annoying. It was made by evil. Guardians are equipped with an advanced arsenal of weaponry and vehicles, but the most powerful of these is their ability to channel the Traveler's power. Thanks to their ghosts, Guardians are effectively immortal in most situations. They take advantage of this in several ways, one being the live fire training exercises of the Crucible with Lord Daddy Shags. It's important to note that Guardians, as I said, are immortal in most situations, not all of them. Guardians can be permanently killed if their light is drained by a powerful enemy, such as dominant figures of the Darkness. According to Emperor Callus, it's possible to permanently kill Guardians without having to drain their light first, but the method of how to do this has been forgotten by the Red Legion. Those silly space turtles. Guardians can also be killed permanently by destroying their ghost first, removing their ability to resurrect, then killing the Guardian. R.I.P. Cade. Even sillier than the space turtles. Before we get into the origins and history, let's go over the 3 types of Guardians in a little bit more detail. Starting off with the best class, as I trigger more and more people with this video, God help me, is the Hunters. Hunters utilize stealth and long-ranged weapons to kill their enemies. Unlike other classes, Hunters tend to mostly keep to themselves and try to disorient their enemies. Through manipulation of the Traveler's energies, hunters learn how to survive in the wild, assassinate their prey, and reclaim lost secrets of the Golden Age. They are daring scouts and stealthy killers, experts with knives and precision weapons. Hunters blaze their own trails and write their own laws. Though some fear them as being dangerous, their bravery has saved many lives and led to many discoveries dating back to the Golden Age. Among the culture of hunters, hunter cloaks provide a sense of mystery and excellent camouflage when they are in the wild. Hunters who become close friends are expected to take up the cloaks of their fallen comrades to finish the business they started. Moving on to the Warlocks now. Warlocks are sometimes referred to as the Warrior Scholar class of Guardian, being able to utilize powers granted by the Traveler for both attack and defense. Warlocks specialize in ranged melee attacks and casting elemental spells to take out enemies. Being the first to tap into the power of the Traveler, Warlocks are known for pushing the boundaries of knowledge even into dangerous territory. They know each discovery offers new possibilities, and they have devoted themselves to understanding the Traveler, its power, and how to better channel that power. A Warlock's mind is an arsenal of deadly secrets, balanced between godhood and madness. On the battlefield, those secrets can shatter reality itself. They search the frontier to find a means to defeat the darkness once and for all. And lastly comes the class without eyelids, the Titans. You probably have to be a big Destiny OG to get that joke, but I said it anyway. It's because they can't blink. I don't think hunters can blink in Destiny 2 either anymore, but whatever, it was a good joke. The name Titan is pretty much what it suggests, as they tend to have the highest armor of any of the three classes in Destiny and the lowest agility. Titans are equipped with suits of powered armor that boost their strength and endurance, utilizing their strength and skill with firearms to kill their enemies. And lots of punches. Titans have long honed the light of the Traveler, passing these skills to each new generation of warrior. Their strength gave birth to the last city, and they have taken a blood oath to ensure that it will always stand strong. The wall surrounding the city was built by the first Titans, who also perished defending it. Steadfast and sure-sighted, Titans face any challenge head-on, serving as living, blunt force instruments of the Traveler's will. Ain't that a beautiful thing? With all that out of the way, let's get back into the history of the Guardians themselves. The story starts in a time period before magic and powers and shoulder charge, known as the Golden Age. The Golden Age was sparked by the arrival of the Traveler during the late 21st century. When it arrived in the solar system, humanity reached out to the Traveler on Mars and made contact. In other words, they touched the butt. The Traveler then began teaching humanity new powers and mystical technologies. And now that most planets could support human life, colonization of these worlds began, and corporations and research groups such as Clovis Bray and the Ishtar Collective were created. Most of the new discoveries humanity made were geared towards the colonization of the system and other vital technologies such as the creation of the Exos. This is all fine and dandy, but the technology of the Golden Age soon began to attract other alien races, such as the Fallen, Hive, and Cabal. And even worse than that is when the Golden Age came to an end, with the arrival of the Darkness, which began to attack humanity, driving it back to Earth at a time referred to as the Collapse. The Traveler defended what was left of the human race, and through some means sacrificed itself to save humanity, becoming dormant in the process and creating the Ghosts. The few survivors of the conflict banded together and built a city underneath where the Traveler hung over the Earth. In these early days, when the survivors of the Collapse were gathering beneath the Traveler, the first Guardians were known as the Risen. Having been granted the power to wield the light by their ghosts, the Risen lacked a common, unifying purpose, and took up roles as enforcers and bodyguards for the first factions of what would eventually become the Last City. As the factions feuded over their competing ideologies and influence among the residents of the underdeveloped city under the Traveler, some of the Risen became disillusioned and abandoned their factions, seeking a higher purpose. With tensions between the factions already near a boiling point, this triggered the faction wars, a violent conflict that only ended when the Risen ceased fighting each other in order to unite against a new enemy that threatened them all: the Fallen. If you'd like to learn more about these battles and how and why the Fallen invaded, you can watch the video I made on the Fallen, which will be linked in the card at the top right corner of your screen. At the end of all of these battles, the Fallen were repelled, the faction's iron grip was broken, and the settlement under the Traveler became the Last City, protected with massive walls. It was at this time that the Risen became known as the Guardians. Outside of the last city, various guardians also set themselves up as petty kings across Earth. Known as warlords, they forged villages to accept their protection in return for tribute and warred with each other for territory. Eventually, 4 warriors who fought against the warlords' tyranny, Radagast, Yolder, Perun, and Saladin, joined together to form a force for good modeled after the knightly orders of old. In doing so, they became the first Iron Lords. Over the years, the Iron Lords' numbers swelled into the hundreds as they defeated warlord after warlord, going as far as to destroy their ghosts to ensure their executions were permanent. A number of warlords, such as Fellwinter, even decided to join the Iron Lords' cause. And thank God he did, because that shotgun is frickin' insane. When the warlords were vanquished, the Iron Lords set about rebuilding human civilization, but unfortunately, this led to their downfall. Hoping to harness the Golden Age technology known as Siva, they breached Site 6 and awoke the Warmind Rasputin, who activated Siva as a defense mechanism. In the ensuing conflict, all of the Iron Lords perished but 2. Saladin, who took it upon himself to guard what remained of the Iron Lords' legacy, and Aphrodite, who fled the destruction and hid far away from civilization with that final round frickin' sniper. Saladin sealed the Iron Temple as a monument to his fallen friends and took up managing the Iron Banner tournament at the tower. Our story then picks up several centuries after the collapse, when a stray ghost wanders through the ruins outside the Cosmodrome and finds you. From there, the playable story of Destiny begins and has continued for the past 6 years. And that is where I'm going to wrap up the story and this episode for today. Don't cry. Make sure to check out the poll to vote for the topic of the next video. If you enjoyed this video, if you could please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching and continuing to support this series, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.